Unlock the Keys, a powerful guide to Moorish identity, divine law, and self-mastery, praised by sheiks and scholars alike, and Moors across the nation are calling it a must-read. Grab your signed copy now at morrisinamerica.com for just $23. Or get the paperback on Amazon, also $23. Prefer digital? The Kindle version is only $3.99.
Islam, peace, everybody. It's Moors in America. Before we say anything else, first and foremost, we want to rise and give the highest of praise to the Most High. Father God, allow all praises due to Allah. And high honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine created nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. Also extending a high honors to the forerunner, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for our prophet. Honors to all the A-Dub Sheiks and all faithful Moors out there listening, watching this, whether you're watching it right now with us live or watching the recording. Honors to all Moorish leadership, including but not limited to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother Emili Il, and our Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother Kenu Umar Bey. And I want to extend special honors to all the faithful light bringers watching right now. Everybody, regardless of ethnicity and religion and all these other different things, honors to you. And I want to ask you one thing as we get things started, Lightbringer. I want to ask you to hit like and share, because I know you're a Lightbringer, and that's why you tuned into this. You could be doing anything right now. You're right here, so hit the like and the share button, and we're getting things started. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. If you're watching this in the morning, you're listening to the True and Living Lightbringer, Moors in America. As always, I'm your brother Lloyd Douglas, also known as Sharif Ali. Here on Moors in America, we are uncovering and bringing glorious light to all issues pertinent to the Moorish American paradigm, and that's what we're doing. That's what we always do here on this podcast known as America, but especially today, as we have the Sheik D. Clement L. here with us, chairman of Temple 30, Columbus, Ohio. Islam, brother. Islam to you.
Islam, Grand Sheik.
Gratitude for coming on here, brother. And
likewise.
Yeah, we're going to demonstrate. We're going to be demonstrating. It's what we do every Wednesday, 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we had to go at 7, but that's what we do here, man, and it's every Wednesday. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go to the links in the video description to our books. We both are authors. The book links are in there. You can the links in there for this podcast, the Sheik Convos, Sheik Conversations. So you can go and check out the previous, some of the other videos, hard hitting. We had a video recently with the brother Asir Duke of Tears on here too. So always come in with relevant info. Just last week we were talking about the prophecies, the oral statements from Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I say, before we do anything, would you like to revisit any of those oral statements, or would you like to cover any of the ones that we didn't get to cover?
Islam, indeed. it's
Oh,
it's
before
like
you say anything, I just want to say Islam and welcome to Tay Elvern or Tay Laverne. One became a member. Islam Moors, yes, you can also subscribe, join the channel too, and we'll have content on there just for people that join. So in addition to subscribing, you can also join, and you can do that. Go to the channel, and brother, please, I yield the floor to you.
Islam. And first and foremost, I'm risen, giving all praise to Allah. Highest honors to His Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Highest honors to all the divinely sent, divinely led prophets. Highest honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Highest honors to our Supreme Grand Sheik, King Umar Bey, all of his staff and officials up in Mecca. Highest honors to our Grand Sheik, Douglas L., all of our staff and officials. Highest honors to all the Moorish American Muslims. Highest honors to all the Americans that are living by love, true peace, freedom, and justice, whether they know their nationality or not. The when I opened up my copy, one of the copies of oral statements of the prophet that I have, I flipped exactly to page 15 of this version, oral statement number 75. The Holy Prophet told the Moors, the times that have been won't be no more. Islam. And because we talking about current events, cultural shifts, and oral statements of the prophet, me opening up my copy this time and just flipping to that page, really brought something to me personally, because when I think about being a member of the Moorish Symbol of America and doing the things necessary to maintain my faithfulness, there's no fear, there's no reluctancy. Like I know that, like, everything that I'm doing is according to principles, the 5 highest principles known to man, or according to virtues that we all strive to perfect. And at the same time, say praise Allah, highest honors to His prophet, again, because he brought us everything it takes to save a nation, and he told us to take it and save ourselves with it. And if we do that, like it says in the instruction before this one, in the oral statement before this one, 74, the Holy Prophet said, if my principles are carried out, the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the United States will be the richest and most prosperous country on earth. If not, the worst is yet to come. Now, when I look at those two statements hand in hand, that brings us right to our current events and the cultural shifts that we're observing. So I did want to just start this off with that, Grand Sheik Islam. If you wanna build on that, I yield. Islam.
Islam, yeah, definitely. I would ask you a question. Then, what do you think? Like, are the prophets' laws, or are the prophets' instructions being carried out? Do you think we're headed towards destruction, or riches? Right? Or as the prophet said, if my principles are carried out.
Islam. When I'm reading this, because he said the United States will be the richest and most prosperous country on earth, If not, the worst is yet to come. I don't necessarily take it as like you know, I see it as, all things is going to end up back in our hands, like we know. But at the same time, I could say that we're carrying out the prophet's law, and we're living according to the principles and the virtues. So, you know, and I said this one time before, and I'll say it because we live and because we're on the subject. You know, we don't exist to, to brag or rub it in anyone's face. Like, oh, the world is going through these experiences, but we're okay, and everything's gonna be okay. I think that a part of the the saving power of what we have is the surety, is the knowing that there's no failure for the human soul, Islam. So I would say that yes, uh, we are on our way to becoming the most prosperous country on earth, because we're on our way to more of the country learning and practicing the principles that we are charged to bring them. Islam.
Islam, definitely, I can see that. And I say that we have more influential power than we realize, right? Like in many ways, our own influence that we have, for our brothers and sisters, our fellow humans, is used against us or used unknowingly, unwittingly. Like for example, just with the different cultural influences, that the different things that we created, like of course hip hop, rock and roll, jazz, and all that stuff, even country music, right? People don't even realize that it was created by Asiatic people. We created it. It has an impact on people. It even has a global impact. And so we see hip hop being used to sell products. We see hip hop being used to push drugs and violence and things of that nature. And so, as we begin to come in and step into who we are, to operate off of these divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, I definitely see us having a positive influence now on others. Even if we don't even think that people listen to us and learn from us, and that we impact culture and impact the words that people use, the way that people eat, just intimate things that people do every day, talking, eating. We impact all of that. And so, definitely, I see as we begin to come into who we truly are, that's how we uplift fallen humanity, right? Starting with ourselves. So, definitely, I can see that coming into play. And I think even with the downfall, the negativity, all that stuff had to happen so that people can see the change, right? People have to see it to believe it. So they had to see us in a low state. Nobody wants to see you just acting all high and mighty, like you pristine and perfect. Now they had to see us fall, so that they know that they can do it too. They can rise up too. They can be greater too. Islam, and I yield the floor back to you, brother.
Islam. And as you were saying that, the thought a thought came to me uh from our Moorish literature, if I may get into that. I said in Sunday school, I had suggested that the members and those who were attending Sunday school to read religious controversy. So do you mind if I read that?
Islam, please read it, brother.
Islam. Spin my lighter on. Islam. So this is from our Moorish literature, which it will be more oral statements of the Prophet. In this age, there is still much religious controversy as to the right thing. Big and powerful ministers have come to the conclusion that something is wrong. Some say it is the Ten Commandments. Others say there is a lack of sincerity in the purpose of the churches. Still, others think it is all worthless and not fit for the time it takes to attend them. However, or whatever their final decision might be, it is certain they will make a change, or rather, try to make one. The fact of the matter is that they have always had only a reflection of the truth and not the real thing. Like one who holds up to the sun a mirror and casts a few of its diverted rays in a different direction, so have they done with the truth that is supposed to have come from the east. There are but few people who know what the truth is about man, and that few know that it is foolish to try to impart it to the ignorant. Although the ignorant has finished college, he is a fool right on, being trained to jump through a hoop. The longer he stays in the schools, the better he can jump, and the more he defends his jumping. From the east comes all light, but though the sun is hanging at high noon, the blind cannot see. The same as the Islamic creed from the east was brought to the Asiatics of America by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and offered to those who were sick at heart. Tried for many years, yet they are blind and cannot see the light. Nor is the prophet trying to put new wine in old skins, for he knows that it will burst them. Still, he has the only remedy for the nations, the remedy brought by Jesus, Muhammad, Confucius, and all of the other prophets, which remedy is truth. The nations do not want the truth. It is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it is, there will continue to be religious controversy. Islam. Oh,
Islam and gratitude for you, brother. Go ahead.
Islam, Grand Sheik. I yell.
No, I don't want to cut your wisdom, brother. Go ahead.
Islam. I was just saying, because when I opened up oral statements and we start the conversation that way, and then we start to talk about, the saving power and the direction that we're going, and when the question is asked, how do I see that coming to fruition? This is always where my mind goes, and it's been here naturally, for the last few creations since the events of the world. And it's very interesting because, like, the current events of the world, they're current, but they're not new. And I think that is really something that we can talk about, right? Because this religious controversy is written 100 years ago, give or take. So, you know, these situations, these current events, these oral statements and prophecies, this is the prophecies and the oral statements is things that was written and spoken 100 years ago or more. And then the events that we're experiencing are really more residual. And we see that the remedy is, they said the remedy is love. And they say the remedy is truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The five highest principles known to man is the remedy. Islam. So I wanted to read that. I wanted to add that to this conversation because I felt like it was pertinent. Islam. I yield, Grand Sheik.
Islam. Islam. Definitely, I agree with you there. And, I feel like this can be applied to our nation, our people too, as well. Just looking at religious controversy, even though, just, and, normally we would look at this and think, okay, religious controversy, we're talking about all the other people, the different views. But I would say this applies to our own people as well. And that the prophet, he may be talking not just, to the rest of the people, but also just talking to his own people. All right. Or actually, I said the prophet. This is author unknown. But I believe this is originally from the Moorish literature, while the prophet was the editor. I could be mistaken. I have to get the exact year on this. But so just so there's no confusion, that's author unknown on that. All right. But just looking at this, from the east comes all light. But the sun is hanging at high noon, the blind cannot see. The same as the Islamic creed from the east was brought to the Asiatics of America by the prophet Noble Drew Ali and offered to those who were sick at heart, tried for many years, yet they are blind and cannot see the light, right? Prophet talking about his own people. Nor is the prophet trying to put new wine in old skins, for he knows that it will burst them. Still, he has the only remedy for the nations, right? The same remedy brought by all of the other prophets, and that's the truth. And the nations do not want the truth because it is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it is, there will continue to be religious controversy. I'm going to show you one way that I think that is applying, just speaking to Moorish Americans. Okay? Without going all around the world or looking at everybody else or, trying to single anyone else out now, just looking at us. Right? And I'm going to show you this. We've actually talked about this on this podcast on Moors in America, not on the Sheik convos, but the prophet laid it out plain and clear. He didn't give us a bunch of controversy. He didn't give us a bunch of rhetoric, or he didn't talk in code. He made things plain and clear so that even if you're not a philosopher, you could understand what the prophet brought. But the nations do not want the truth. It is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it is, there will continue to be religious controversies. And so just looking at, even with Moors being shown this picture from the first annual convention in 1928, and the prophet's there, right there on Federal Street. All these Moors, it's actually a real long landscape style picture. The other side of this, I have this gratitude for the brothers who actually took this picture and posted this online. The other side of this picture is right here, just to give you an idea how actually long that was. Okay, and this is the first convention, 1928. This is from October 18th. And you see all the Moors lined up in here. And you can point out to the Moors, you see, obviously, you have a lot of Moors that are draped with the American flag, United States of America flag, whatever people want to call it. They want to call it the corporate banner. You want to do whatever you want to do. We know what that is. And when you're calling it the corporate banner, you're disrespecting what the prophet did. Because when he's bringing this to us, it's not a corporate banner. This is representing America. So the Moors are being disrespectful. Hey, you don't even have to get into all that, talk about what they could be, what it could mean. And come on, man. That's not what the prophet meant. And then we see also how the prophet flies the flags. And he's flying it. He's not causing any controversy. He's not doing anything that will potentially derail the movement before we even get it up and running. Before the Moors even have any solid industries that we control, where the Moors are good no matter, regardless of what anyone else is doing, regardless of what wars are going on, the Moors are good. So the prophet wouldn't set us up to be attacked. And you have the Moors that don't believe in this. They don't care. Even when they're shown the proof, you can't go against this. This isn't fake. This is how it's flown. And you're not even supposed to talk about the private. I don't even want to go in detail about what I'm saying. But you got those Moors running their mouths about it. What's supposed to, maybe it could be done in private. They're talking about it publicly. They're doing it publicly. They're displaying it publicly. They are in vile violation, brother. And just as this is why the prophet had an adept chamber, because you can't tell everybody everything. There were some people, probably even some people who were there with the prophet in this picture for this photo, that the prophet's like, nah, he can't be in the chamber. He's going to be blabbing and running his mouth. He's going to be trying to do this everywhere the wrong way. He's not going to have any order. He's not going to have any dignity, he doesn't have it in him. He's not going to hold to this. He's not going to be loyal. The prophet said, if you're going against his laws, you are a traitor and unloyal to this government. And so I'm just saying this because there's really actually no confusion about how this movement was actually set up and what it was set up to do, how we are set up to succeed. It wasn't some, weird, thing that doesn't make any sense. It was so simple that you could explain it to anyone. You could even explain it to a child. We come together, we work on ourselves. The prophet said, look at yourself in the mirror, correct yourself, and then go back and correct yourself again. So working on ourselves, subduing our lower self. And while we're doing that, we're also putting up our money in our treasuries, in our national treasury. We're opening businesses. We're working together. We're obeying the laws. We are law abiding. We're not doing anything that would bring yourself or your movement, the movement or your family, anything into harm's way. It's really that simple. Okay, so people are overcomplicating it, and they're not even able to duplicate this. They're not even able to get close to duplicating this because they don't follow the prophet. And for those that know what I'm saying, this is what we do. And I wouldn't even say anything further than that, because some people, you can't tell nothing. I know that's a double negative, but you know what I'm talking about here, Moors. And I'm going to yield the floor to you. I'm not trying to get up here on a soapbox and go on and on about this Islam, brother.
Islam, Grand Sheik. And, to be honest, that's just the hammer. What do we do with the hammer? Nailing the truth.
Hammer
Until
that truth.
it's a part of every part.
Yes.
And you know, it's no mistake. We started this on the oral statement 75, and I start going backwards to 74. But if we go forwards, it's right in line with everything that you're talking about. The very next oral statement from the prophet was in 76. The holy prophet let the Moors know that he was Jesus. He said, "Those that were with me 2,000 years ago are with me today. And those that were against me 2,000 years ago are against me today." And then, you know, if we looking at the order, he told the Moors to be yourself. But in order to be ourselves, we got to study ourselves. We have to know ourselves. In order for man to be what he knows, you know what I'm saying? In order for man to know, he must be what he knows. So you study yourself to know yourself, to be yourself. Islam, and that photo, you know, as you've been expressing, that photo is the display. Like the fact that there is any confusion is just uh, I would call it mind-boggling, if I'll be honest, because it is the reference photo. Islam, when you want to make something, like, and you have instructions to put something together, you have a picture of the final result, and then you have the instructions to tell you every tool that you need and all the parts that you need. You know, we have our oral statements, we have our Moorish literature, divine constitution and bylaws. We have all the tools. He said, I gave you everything it take to save a nation. Now save yourself. This photo is one of the tools that the prophet intentionally left us so that we would see it and know. You know, but then I could get up on a soapbox, girl. Only the pure in heart will know the King. Islam. So I just
Islam,
say
brother,
I just say
you
praise
need to be
Allah
up
and
on the
honest.
soapbox because you're speaking the truth. And if people
Islam.
hear the truth, some of the people standing in the back, they can't, they can't hear. So, I mean, look, man, when we're looking at this, and really having a clear vision of what the prophet actually brought, understanding what's going on in the world today, we see that this nation, the morals and values of this nation are degrading and have been degrading for a long time. And as it falls apart and falls, you have the people from the so-called black community who are coming together and who are working on cleaning themselves up and working to actually uplift themselves in their communities. And so as this happens and we begin to, as the prophet established for us, we get involved in our community, in our society. We don't just pray and close our eyes, right? So we get involved, we get active, we take a very active role in leadership and in um, affecting the conditions around us, like in government and everything. So as the morals and values degrade and people are getting tired of the government, doing corrupt things, not doing what they're supposed to do, misappropriating funds, things of this nature, we're beginning to come up and stand on a higher ground and mean it. This is why you have to follow the prophet. This is why you can't come and say, oh no, we're gonna fly them the opposite way. And cause this guy said this and blah 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 blah, this and that. You got 1,000 reasons why you're not with the prophet. Okay. You can't be trusted. You're not pure and divine. You're not even trying to be. the higher self. But what the true Moors are doing is we're coming in, we're standing on truth, we're working on ourselves to do what's right, and truth, getting back to truth, because truth is art and art is a lie. This is the truth standing here before you, and it's being shown to you. These pictures that the prophet took, they line up with what he said about who we are as American citizens. They all line up. So if you're against it, you're against the truth. And the Moorish American Muslims that are with the prophet, we stand on the truth. And as we stand on the truth, we show a higher, moral standard, not to try to act superior in any way, just to do Allah's will. To actually do Allah's will, no matter what. To refuse to serve the lower self, to set the example, to set a better example. And this goes even further than our own communities. It starts with our communities, but this goes out and affects the entire nation, everyone that's here. Because real recognize real. And we're all tired of the scamming and the trying to get over and the just looking out for your own selfish interests. We're all tired of that. And so even if you think you're more and you're wearing a fez or a turban, if you're not standing on truth, you're not demonstrating the prophet, and the people can see it. All right, and just saying that because, as our brother just said, those that were with the prophet 2,000 years ago are with him today. Those that were against the prophet 2,000 years ago, you're still against them, right? And that shows. It shows. So we see it. So that, the line has to be drawn, even if it's just drawn in our minds, so that we know what time it really is. We're not going against the prophet. We're not going against truth. We're standing on this because it guarantees our success, earthly from a physical perspective, but also spiritually, also from a divine perspective, right? And we're doing this, not just for ourselves, but also for the children and the grandchildren and the great-great-grandchildren. And then, and that speaks volumes, because you have people that are just doing things because their license got suspended because they were out, doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And now they're trying to figure out ways to keep doing what they're doing without doing what's right. And so we're not with that. That has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with being a Moor. Moors, if that's where you're at, you got to step it up. Otherwise, it's like you're going to be left behind. Why are you even here? Right? You can't build a nation. You can't even build a neighborhood. So that's not where we're at. I don't know what this sister in the chat's talking about. Your prophet mentioned zombies as well. You have a post. You have an oral statement about zombies. Share that. You know what she's talking about? Otherwise, I would say share that in the chat. I'm trying to think. Zombies.
Islam. The internet is a wild.
You talking about the mentally dead? Because yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Islam. Nah, I was just saying because I read it and I laughed because 2026. It's like what a time to be alive. But no, in chapter 19 of our Holy Quran, if I activated the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet, draw Ali by the God of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plan in life with his father God Allah. Islam. In chapter 19, Jesus appears fully materialized to the Eastern sages in the palace of Prince Ravana in India. To the Magian priests in Persia, three wise men speak in praise of the personality of the Nazarene. In instruction 19, the quote, I go my way, but you shall go to all the world and teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man, the power of truth, the resurrection of the dead. He who believes this gospel of the Son of Man shall never die. The dead shall live again. Then Jesus disappeared, but he had sown the seed. The words of life were spoken in Orissa, and all of India heard. Islam.
Islam. Gratitude for speaking on that. And definitely in that case, I think we're speaking about mental um mentally dead, but just not being in touch with the spirit, with the higher form of us. And actually, in many different esoteric traditions, when they're looking at the scriptures and you know trying to describe spirituality to humanity, they refer to being alive as being dead, being in a physical body as being dead. Now, I'm trying to be careful in how I say this because I don't want people to take this the wrong way and not really understand what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, I'm conveying this, in a simple enough way that people understand. But a lot of, I guess you could say, the the holy men, the spiritual men, the masterminds would describe this life as death. All right, this whole entire physical existence. This is like you're not really living, especially when you're um, subject to your own carnal mind. The carnal mind is limited to the material realm, and you have no concept or no understanding of your true multi-dimensional, right? Multi-dimensional capabilities or your multi-dimensional existence. You're not connected to spirit. Spirit is so vibrant and it's everywhere. Everything. There's a movie called Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, and that movie was about different dimensions, different realities. I guess different realities, but like just from connecting to spirit, right? Just from opening the third eye. That's how I would describe it. Being everywhere, everything, all at once. And so, not being in the presence of the creator, not being connected, that's like being dead. And so that's why people who had the experience of spirit would 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 consider, this physical existence death, right? Because you cut off, or you think you cut off, not really cut off. I don't know if anyone's actually really cut off. Even people whose pineal gland is totally calcified, they can't even connect. They can't even open the third eye. I don't know if they're still cut off. They feel like it though. And so people who are aware that there's more out there, they're like, this is death. All these people are dead. So they're talking about resurrection of the dead. They're not talking about undoing rigor mortis, because once you go through rigor mortis, that's it. Ain't no coming back. If you do come back, it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be like this. You ever seen that show American Gods?
Islam. I just started it. I just started it.
Okay, yeah. So there's a character in there who died and went through rigor mortis, and they decide to bring her back or let her, or she escapes and comes back, and it's nasty. Body parts falling off and stuff. Is like you can't, fit the way that the material realm is. You don't come back. It's not gonna happen. You know, and if it does, there's some ramifications to that. That's what The sister said, I think 141. I see why you said that. You know, just pulling that up. Before we go to that though, just going back to what you were saying on chapter 19, was there anything else that you wanted to speak on, brother?
Islam. I was just gonna add the civiliter mortus aspect. You know, the civilly dad. Like, what do we say when we don't know um our nationality, when we don't know about our birthrights and our divine creed, just when we don't know certain things, and when we do know certain things, you know, we call it being awake, being aware, being woke. You know, that's where that comes from, being conscious of certain things that everybody else is not conscious aware of. So it's like there's the sleeping awake, and then there's the dead and alive, you know, in a metaphorical sense, not in a literal sense, like, you know, what we see on TV. Even though what we see on TV is a metaphor for what we experience in real life. Art imitates life. Islam. So that I
Yeah,
yield.
there's levels to this, man. Definitely, I can agree with that. Just for people in our condition or our situation, being, you know, just another saying, basically saying what you're saying. In other words, being mislabeled, where you're cut off from your line of descent. Finding out that you do have a line of descent and that you didn't just start at slavery. There's more to the picture. You have a history. You're real, and that you're connected to something that you can be proud of. Yeah, that's life changing. That's yeah, definitely. That's you know, being alive now. You know, because before that you are dead. Bef- as black people, we have a saying, or maybe I shouldn't even say we, but those are my people. As you know, the people have a saying that all I got to do is stay black and die. Right? I've heard family members say that. People said that since I was a child. I don't really hear people say it that much no more, but like, yeah, as a child, all I got to do is stay black and die. And it's like, yeah, because when you're black, you are dead, right? And so, like, yeah, finding out there's more to the picture, it gives people life, man. People, and that's how come when people realize that they're Moors, they come alive, and a lot of people go hard with it, you know, and that's why, because it changes everything. It's breathing life into something. So I agree with you on that, definitely, brother. And
Islam Grand Sheik. And just to you know, be the hammer, you know, and drive this truth home, because it's a teachable moment. You know, in our 101 questions, Quran questions for Moorish Americans and Moorish American children, key 87, what is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means deaf. And when you ask somebody which science does black mean deaf, when you look at it, you would see in multiple sciences black means deaf. So when somebody stops calling themselves that, like the Grand Sheik just mentioned, that does bring them back to life. Islam. But with that, I saw the last thing I want to say about that subject or question.
Islam, and I'm glad you brought that up. That brings me to the book that I wrote recently called "The Unlocking the Keys," where it's just going into the Quran keys or the Quran questionnaire and just breaking it down, you know, from a spiritual perspective to give multiple, to give deeper understanding to it, and also to give us a way to practically use these keys in our lives to improve our lives, improve ourselves, right? And so I want to speak on that. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time because I just want to go to key 87. Got that in here too, and I'm so glad you spoke on that, right? So yeah, black means death. Okay, and we need to understand what that really means, because like, you know, like you said, like, what science? Black according to science means death, and we can look at that legally, where the black legal status represents a void a lack of legal or spiritual recognition. So even like spiritually, when it's being written about, when it's saying something's black, it's devoid. It doesn't have any spiritual recognition, right? It's a void. It's like a black hole. Light can't even escape the black hole. In law, black is also often associated with civil death, like the Sheik said, civiliter mortus, right? And you know, in the Bible, like in the Genesis, and let there be light, right? So light is where the spiritual elevation comes from. It doesn't come from darkness. There's no life, nothing really going on until the light is brought, right? And so it's the absence of light. And light, you know, in a spiritual sense, especially in many of the esoteric traditions and in different fraternal groups, you could say, when they're speaking about light, they're specifically speaking about spiritual elevation, spiritual understanding. So when you lack the light, you lack the spiritual understanding, you lack spirit, devoid of it even, which is, you know, a terrible thing to not even have it. So not the best thing, not the greatest situation to be in. So just wanted to add a little bit to that. Don't want to go too far off into this, but yeah, with unlocking the keys to go deeper into each question from the, or each key from the Quran questionnaire, the 101 keys, and just want to speak on that piece. I give the floor back to you, brother.
Islam. That, I think that was it was a powerful conversation. To be honest, that was a really great question. To be honest, and I'm really grateful to the viewer, the guest who posed that question. Islam, where do we find a college level course on the Moors? This is so high school. Islam, I would implore you. Uh, I won't assume, but I would implore one to attend their holy day, their Sunday school, and you know, any other activities that one's temple offers. Or you can attend our holy day in Sunday school. You can proclaim your nationality and start to find out where the college level course on the Moors are. Islam, I yield.
Islam, yeah, I would agree with that, and I would say, I would, if you're genuine and not just trying to like challenge, I would suggest getting the book, um, Othello's Children in the New World from Professor Jose Pimenta Bay. Great book about the Moors, and it puts everything in perspective historically. Also takes in the impact of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and it's a great discourse. Definitely a powerful measure to take in. I would also suggest getting the book that it just had up here on the screen, um, Unlocking the Keys, 420 pages, going into the Prophet's. Pardon, I was reading in the chat, but just going into the Prophet's questionnaire, the Prophet's laws, and explaining everything from a metaphysical point of view. And then without, you know, I don't want it to sound like I'm challenging the brother, but I'll say, ask a question. If you have, or you seek deeper understanding, I'll say ask a question, especially if you think what's being discussed here is high school, or it's like, you know, not high up level of understanding. If you have some deeper questions, go ahead and ask. You know, let's see, you know, how far we could take this. I would say definitely with the Unlocking the Keys, though, it goes deeper into the lessons and gives a well-rounded, thorough breakdown of what the Prophet's really doing here, for not just for uplifting our nation, getting us, you know, things that we need physically, but also from the true purpose of what we're really here for. Like when it says know thyself, that sounds really simple. But what does that really mean? And so to give you an example, to know thyself may go a little deeper than you think. The understanding of what you truly are may go deeper than you think. Even when you're just looking at things like on the cover of the Quran questionnaire, the prophet's lifting this unconscious woman. He's stepping out of the water onto land. You may not really think there's anything great there, but when you go into it, because we break down the symbolism of the Quran questionnaire cover in here too as well. And you understand that there's actually, even just the symbols that you're seeing, there's a deeper meaning to this, a deeper message to this. And it's worth studying and learning, because for one, I'm trying to find an example to give you. For one, that symbolism that the prophet used of lifting a woman out of the waters and then onto the solid rock of salvation, wasn't just depicted by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We've actually seen this depicted through ancient Mesoamerica, right, with the Mayan and Aztec people. And then even in other countries, other ancient cultures around the world. And so this was done for a reason. It's not just to show lifting up a woman, right? Of course, we should lift up the woman, but it's showing that there's more to this than that, right? You have this unconscious woman that represents fallen humanity, right? And you're lifting her out of the cares of the world. The cares of the world symbolized by water. Just, quickest way to explain that is just the waters, the uncertain waters, the choppy waters, right? The waves. If you're in the ocean, if you're ever out in the ocean for real, swimming around out there, it's not really that easy, even if you're a great swimmer. It's uncertain. You're not gonna feel so good and confident out there, right? So he's lifting out of those, the cares of the world. So recognizing ourselves, reclaiming our divine identity, we're breaking free from the cares of the world. One way we're breaking free from the cares of the world is because we're subduing our carnal nature, our lower self. The lower self limits you to figuring things out from taste, touch, smell, hearing, and what am I leaving out? Taste, touch, smell, hearing. Fifth sense, man. So you're limiting yourself to the five senses. And you're limiting yourself to what you can figure out from here and there. When in reality, in actuality, there's an aspect of you that is non-physical, that is connected to all, that always has the answers. And so we're actually learning how to, and not just learning, talking about it, we're actually doing it, connecting to that aspect of ourselves so that we can overcome these cares of the world, so that you're no longer subject to the cares of the world. So it's taking things to a higher level, and the prophet brought it to us and made it in a way that we can understand it and work it and demonstrate it. That's also why, going back to the picture from the first convention, why it's sad and pitiful when Moors won't even just follow these simple instructions. Just do what the prophet did. Follow the law. This is divine law. If it's not law for you, you ain't a real Moorish American, because Moorish American Muslims follow the prophet's law. And so just in following divine law, following the prophet's instructions, we're doing the work on subduing that carnal nature. And now we're able to actually demonstrate Allah in man physically in the real world. We'll be able to do things that people wouldn't even think that we would be able to do. They wouldn't think anyone would be able to do. And that's the demonstration that the prophet actually set up for us. And that's how you know that there's a lot of Moors that aren't even trying to do this. And then when you look at what they're really demonstrating, it's no wonder, they don't demonstrate the prophet at all, right? That's why they're not successful. Okay, so you gotta, cut that foolishness out, and also you gotta not be out here thinking that the foolish demonstration is high up. It's divine wisdom or it's some great information. It's not. It's nothing. It's nothing to get you nowhere. It's just confusion. It's just more human stuff to keep you stuck. All right. And so I just I don't want to keep going like a on the soapbox. I want to yield the floor to my brother Clement L. Islam, or please feel free to speak.
Islam, I was about to say that was a pretty powerful hour, I think. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to belabor it, or I wouldn't want to, you know, take away from what we have so far, Islam. So I would yield too.
All right, Islam, gratitude. I just want to say thank you for everything that you spoke on and shared. It's been a powerful build, powerful demo, and I want to thank everybody for coming out here. Just want to ask one last time before we close out. Everyone that's here, hit the like button, and make sure also that you hit share. Share this video, like the video, go into the description, check out our links there. Also, check out the other shows from this podcast. Right, this is every Wednesday, 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, between 6 to 7. And I just want to tell everyone, make sure that you follow this, subscribe, and we'll be here every Wednesday, 6 to 7. And gratitude, everyone. And we're going to go ahead on that measure. We're going to go ahead and close things out. Peace and love, Morris.
All right, it's gratitude. Peace and love.
All right, Islam.
Unlock the Keys, a powerful guide to Moorish identity, divine law, and self-mastery. Praised by sheiks and scholars alike, and Moors across the nation are calling it a must-read. Grab your signed copy now at morrisinamerica.com for just $23. Or get the paperback on Amazon, also $23. Prefer digital? The Kindle version is only $3.99.
Don't let your history start at slavery. Join with Moorish Science Temple, a lawfully chartered Islamic organization, and proclaim your nationality while helping us uplift fallen humanity. Founded by American prophet Noble Drew Ali and consistently promoted plans for the betterment of humankind. We are located in Columbus, Ohio. Visit our website www.moorishamericans.com and follow us on social media. We hold live meetings on Zoom every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call at 614-407-4394 if you would like to join or send donations to help us uplift fallen humanity.
Oh, real quick, I just want to share about our fundraiser right now for Moorish Tag Day or Tag Week. So just want to tell everyone to go and go to MoorishAmericans.com, go to the Temple store on there, and make sure to get the Moorish tags. And I'm trying to clear the screen while I do this. Get those tags. You can either get the button or the keychain, or you can get both. And this is just a fundraiser for raising funds to help us to uplift all of humanity and do that great work. So definitely appreciate you all that are here. Once again, go to MoorishAmericans.com. When you're on there, I thought I had this screen up. When you're on there, you can just use that. Get the buttons and the keychain on there. All right, and we want to say gratitude to everyone for your support. Yeah, you can see it on the screen. Okay, there we go. All right, yes, go to the Big Temple store. You can order the tags, the buttons, the chain, ship that out to you. and gratitude for just
highest quality handmade fezzes. Crafted fez with the finest wool, complete with tassel and leather sweatband. Wear the national headdress of Moorish Americans with pride and respect. 3XL size fez is a comfortable fit for brothers with dreadlocks. Shipping worldwide. Go to moorishfez.com to order.
CareMore is a non-profit organization focused on providing goods and services to families and individuals in our underfunded communities in Central Ohio. We have created an online presence to reach members of our Central Ohio communities, as well as local events and meetings to give away supplies and donations throughout the city all year long. Visit our website to learn more and to send a donation.
Every day, billions of searches are conducted online, therefore it is critical that your company stands out to the small percentage of clients who are essential to your business. Our team of local digital marketing consultants and SEO experts is eager to help your company achieve its goals through a consultative approach, top Google rankings, and collaboration with industry experts. Here at Adept Marketing Solutions, we stand for integrity, dedication, ingenuity, and results. We know how to navigate the ever-changing digital landscape and what brands must do to succeed. Visit our website to see what we can do to help you reach your goals. Fez Caps blends Moorish style with modern streetwear hats. The cutting-edge design features Moorish symbols with a silk tassel on the dome of the cap. More than just a fashion statement, Fez Caps represents something powerful and ancient within you. Go to fezcaps.com to order your Fez Cap now.